Why did you experiment with plant medicines, and can you tell me how that played out, and what do you see the future of that?
Well, after my book on addiction was published, and again it was a bestseller and attracted a lot of interest. And as you say, I was well into my 60s. I was, 65 I think when the book came out. But people kept asking me, well, what do you know about ayahuasca in particular and the treatment of addiction? And I knew nothing. Why would I, as a Western trained physician, you know? And the question began to irritate me after a while because people kept insisting on asking me. And my attitude was a rather churlish, listen, I've just written a 400-page book on what I know about. Why don't you ask me something I know about instead of asking what I don't know about, you know? Until I actually was asked the question one more time. And I said, I knew nothing about it, never had the experience. And somebody came up to me and said, you know what? You could actually participate in the ceremony not far from where you live. You don't have to go to Peru. So I did. And like you, I don't want to compare experiences. My sense is you had a more profoundly transformative experience, but it was profound and transformative enough for me to see the potential in it right away. And again, given the limitations of Western medicine, I thought if there's anything at all that'll enhance my capacity, that can add to my skills or methodology to working with people, that would be a benefit. Why would I not go for it? And so I began to investigate it more, and that's how I've come to it.
Okay. And how did it work? I mean, did you use the plant medicine with addicts, with drug addicts, and what did the government think of that? And
well, so of course, the plant is illegal in North America, so there's no possibility of using it in any consistent and legally acceptable way. So, but where I have led retreats with it, outside of North America, we've had people with addictions, we've had people with autoimmune disease, we've had people with autoimmune disease that they've been told would kill them. There was no further treatment. No, they're walking around just fine. When I say they, I'm talking about one person. I don't want to exaggerate that. I've got a whole lot of great success stories to tell you, but I have some very dramatic stories to tell you about how much better people can get from all manner of conditions, from autoimmune conditions to multiple sclerosis, to addictions, depression, anxiety, even ADHD. Why? Because if I'm right, and all these conditions are rooted, significantly rooted, not singularly caused by, but significantly rooted in childhood trauma, as people heal their trauma, why would their conditions not get better? Given that the mind and the body can't be separated. No. Quite outside the plant world, again, there are these spontaneous cures. There are people who survive their prognosis by decades. There's a great story that was in the New York Times a few years ago about a Greek fellow who comes to the United States after the war. He was a resistance fighter during the war. Left Greece, becomes a factory worker in Chicago somewhere, develops lung cancer. And now he has to, and the doctors tell him that with treatment you've got 9 months, with treatment, without treatment you got 6 months to live. So now he has to decide where to live. Should I live in the States where my children are, but then I have to spend $30,000 on my funeral, I won't have any money left to them? Or do I go back to my island in Greece? So it goes back to this very famous island in Greece that he's from, where people live longer, they're healthier and so on. They're active longer. And he's there with his terminal cancer, and is in his bed, is in his deathbed, and his friends and neighbors and relatives, they all come and visit him and they interact and so on. And after a while he decides, well, why should I lie in bed? I might as well go on the porch and enjoy the sunshine and look at my garden. And so he sits on the porch and people visit, and after a time of that, he says, well, what am I sitting here for? Why don't I just go down and just putter around in the garden? To make a long story short, his cancer completely goes away. And the island has been studied. People live longer, they're healthier, they're active longer. It's what they eat, it's what they don't eat. It's their communality, it's the meaning, it's the purpose, it's the interaction, it's the connection with other people, all that. They don't run by the clock. If somebody says, I'll come over for lunch, they could show up at 12, they could show up at 4 p.m. They just live a different life. And the end of the New York Times article is, he goes back to the States, and a couple of decades later, and he just wants to say to the doctors, well, what do you think happened here? He says, I couldn't find them, they had all died. Now,
I thought you were going to say he got back to the States and after 3 months there, he died.
No. So what I'm saying is that plant medicine and no plant medicine is a powerful interaction between our emotional lives and and how we see ourselves and how we connect with other people and our physiological health. So we're talking about healing much more than just addiction here.
Continue watching this fascinating conversation for free by clicking on the link below to visit our website, learn from the best minds in the world, and connect with a community of passionate people building the best versions of themselves. Just click on the link below, and I'll see you on the inside.